Continuing our story of the Melamed and the Yeshuvnik. So the Rabbi says, again, this is 1965, friends. This is the early days of Shlichus. You know, it's only 10 years after the war. The attitude, people are tired and exhausted, and the wounds are fresh. The memory is fresh. And just to survive and make a few dollars and give the kids a Jewish education, and that should be brought up from a Yidden, a Chassidic Yidden, this is a tremendous achievement. Right there in America. And here the Rebbe is coming along with Shlichus and that's spreading the wellsprings outside. And it was a very big battle to change this mindset. So here's a typical Sikha 1965 Yud Shvat, the Rebbe says. So there's those that argue, or he that argues, he doesn't have to be involved in spreading the wellsprings outside or spreading Yiddishkeit outside. And he doesn't have to be very careful in the observance of every nuance of the Diktor Kal Shal Divrei Sofrim, and nuance of the sages, an observance which doesn't carry the severity or even close to severity of a rabbinic or a Torah transgression. It doesn't have to be so particular. Why? Because he sees that there's a Yid older than him and smarter than him, and he doesn't do so either. He knows, true, that Afotis and Mayona spreading the wellsprings will bring Mashiach. But not to him. It's not talking to him. He has to be the one that spreads it, and he should bring Mashiach. That's not literally his business. He has to read this letter to his friend and tell him that the Baal Shem Tov wrote, Baal Shem Tov's letter, that spreading the wellsprings, then Mashiach will come. And after he reads the letter to the Yeshuvnik, he leaves him and does what he wants to do. He's yoitze by preaching it to somebody else, in other words. Takem, Rebbe continues, he's relentless. Takem, there's the commandment, to love your fellows yourself. And if you see your fellow that's naked, you have to cover him. Like it says in Tanat Dveli Rabbi, that when you see a Yid naked, means not just physically, but naked of Torah mitzvahs, you have to put him on metalis and tefillin, like he explains at length. And he reads the Tanat Dveli Rabbi, and he publishes it, and he publicizes it, and he says a drasha about it. But that he should faint if this Yid is spiritually naked. What does that have to do with him? This is heavenly business. But he's not in the world. Or he's in between Shemayim v'Aretz. He's not going to say he's an earthly person. But he's not in Shemayim. And therefore, this Jew thinks that we're talking about somebody else's father. And therefore, when someone else errs, this is not an answer that he also has to make the same error. And this is I'm not sure exactly what he means by that. It's your father, so don't look at someone else's example that he makes a mistake, therefore. So this is the general, continuing here, just next paragraph, this is the general instruction to know that we're talking about Avinu Shebashamayim, our father, the personal father of every Yid. And we have to make sure that we're not in a situation where Ovivim Yazavuni, my father and mother, abandoned me in his own perception. Like he explains in the Kotet Torah, that it could be that a Yid is Rahman al-Tzlan in this state where he feels that he's been abandoned. And on a deeper level, Ovivim, he goes on Chachma and Bina. He abandons his own insight and understanding. But even then, the pasuk concludes, Hashem Yasfeini, God gathers me in. And nothing stands in the way of tshuva. But he's got to feel the pain of his current situation. The Aviv Im Yazavun have abandoned my father and mother my own father and mother. So you have to know that we're talking not to the other person, but to him. And much more so from the story of the Mittler Rebbe, when someone came to ask a tikkun about something that he had absolutely no connection to. Never says here at Anushis, it wasn't something in the realm of menschlichkeit at all. And then they stopped Yechidus then for a long time, the Mittler Rebbe. Why? Because he grasped right away the Mittler Rebbe that if a person comes with such a problem, it means he has the problem. And he had to find it and fix it within himself, and he toiled and labored until he did. He had to fast many days and cry and say Tillim until it was revealed to him and what it is that he has to fix within himself before he could then address it in the other. But you, they were saying, they're talking to the Fabrengen, you don't have to fast and toil. But it's an easy understanding, and even as Bon and as Kala, an immediate meditation, like it says in Tanya, you'll grasp what was missing and what what you need to fix. Bottom line is, we're talking to you. As my father-in-law would say, Mister, I'm talking to you.
Shikol Rayach. Bless you all.
Everybody.
God bless you.